Let's start with career mapping. One of the easiest place to start is your existing connections, people you worked with. And when I say existing connections, majority of people say I don't have a network. Um, so think of that. Remember the logical connectors I talked about in your work. Firstly, think of everybody you worked with in the past, everybody you've had CCAs with. You need to stop thinking when you're talking about existing connections, they need to be in the same function, they need to be a boss, they need to be a decision maker. No. At this stage, existing connections are everybody in your professional network or everybody in your personal network who is working, who may know people professionally, because you want to get some of their social capital. Even if they are not in the industry or function you're considering, they may know someone. So it's a time to start reaching out to people who in your existing connection. So don't label it to the closest people. You should be looking at people far back, your ex-colleagues, ex-classmates, ex-CCA members. I was speaking to somebody who's got 16 years of work experience, and we were talking about how she's a bit lost in her career. NTU graduate, INSEAD graduate. And I was like, have you spoken to your friends from NTU? And she was like, I'm actually in touch with them, but I haven't. It didn't even click me that I should be talking to them. So when you are thinking of reaching out to existing connections, don't be limited by the strong connections, the ones you're closest to, your family, your close friends, people you're meeting very often. In fact, there was a study in 1973 by Mark Granovetter. I hope I pronounced it correct. So Mark Granovetter in Stanford, 1973, way back. By the way, networking is not a new thing. Our professional careers have been built through networking over the years. And he did the study which says, in job search specifically, weak ties are more strong. So why? Two factors. Number one, when you have a lot of close friends and they are the only one you're interacting with, the kind of knowledge and opportunities which come to you would be what the circle has. So in this case, if I'm here and I interact with this person would know people who I already know. I always give my husband's example. If I'm doing a career switch, my husband is possibly the worst person who can help me in my networking because our networks are so intertwined. But you have these weak ties who bring a whole new network to you. And that's what we want to capitalize on. They don't need to be your closest friend for them to refer you. In fact, if you go deeper into that study and you read the whole thing, what it comes out with is sometimes our closest friends are not the best at our helping with our job search because they know us very deeply and they know us in a certain persona of us. I remember when I was looking out of computer engineering and I wanted to get into something outside of engineering. Of course, I was a fresh grad. The people I trusted the most were my family, and everybody in my family was upset because to them it was a waste of 4 years of my life, of the money. I took loans to be able to do this. They were super upset. But when I spoke to people who've done engineering degree and did not get into computer engineering but did different facets of business, they give me a very unique, objective perspective of it. And that's what happens when our networking, we think, or we should be talking to the closest people. They know me and they will be able to get me. And that's where a lot of dreams go to die because they know you in a certain capacity and they can't give you a very objective view. They are well wishers, absolutely. My family was thinking only about me in that moment. They know how much effort I had put in to become that, but they could not think beyond it. And that's what happens when we are only networking with our closest people. So capitalize the strength of weak ties. There's a whole study around it if you want to explore that further. in my practice as well, a lot of times I see referrals happening from connections of connections. So I was speaking to a client just earlier, around 10:30. We had a call, and he got a role with with someone. So this person said, "Yes, let's meet for a coffee." I've got a role, but the coffee meeting did not go well. So this client of mine shared how the person said, "Look, I'm looking at somebody who's led large teams because this is going to be a high growth phase for our company. So you may not be the best person, but I'm happy to refer you to somebody else I know." And the person did his task. So they met on Friday, and this person then introduced my client to somebody in his network who may potentially be hiring. And of course, they're talking now. So my client says, "I don't think if it makes sense for me to meet that other person because it's like a connection of a connection who I got through my conversation on LinkedIn." But to me, that is the golden opportunity because this person may have the role. They've done the first level of vetting and then referred you to somebody else. That connection also not only looks at your experience, but also the social capital of somebody who's connected. So the middle guy, his reputation, social capital is also attached to your referral. So it's going to be a much higher chance for them to trust in your capability. So use the weak ties to your advantage. But say you have limited weak ties as well. Don't wait to exhaust them. Again, I work with people, they start looking out to your existing connections, and every week I remind them while you're working your way through your existing connections and connections of connections, build more because networking takes time.